popular playing with him, Todd Howarth.
Cool guy, by the way.
He's a cool guy.
Um,
Uh,
here we go.
I think Second Sighting would have done a lot better if their songwriting was a
Wait
little
for
bit
after
more
the show.
imaginative.
Wait for after the intro.
It's time for Red Salad Review with your hosts, Wayne New, Greg Narlow, and Lou Max.
All right, congrats on review. Continue, Greg. What were you saying?
We were talking about Todd Howarth, and you were talking about Second
Oh,
Sighting.
Second Sighting. Well, yeah, because Ace had already fallen off the wagon again by then, and Todd and John Regan wrote most of that album. I said, it's a shame they didn't have more time to develop it because he had some good ideas, but there's a lot of stuff on there that came out kind of mediocre overall.
Yeah, definitely the Frehley's Comet album was the superior one.
Yes. I refer to Second Sighting as Howarth's Hailstorm, actually, but I do still like it.
It's an interesting analogy.
They did a good job though. I mean, they had to pick up most of the slack, but even Eddie Trunk admits that Atlantic and him and everyone else should have really backed off Ace, let him do a little break in between that. But the Frehley's Comet album went almost gold. It was like really close. I think 50,000 away. So when they got back from that tour, they wanted him back in the studio immediately.
Well, at least with Trouble Walking, he definitely sound with that album. I think he bounced back.
That's a great album, in my opinion. Yeah. So before we get any further, Wayne.
Yeah.
What are we talking about tonight, Wayne?
Well, unfortunately, last week Ace Frehley had passed away, and actually, was it Thursday? It was last Thursday, right?
It was Thursday. It was the day after we recorded
our show. So
yeah. By the way, welcome to Rad Style Review, everyone. It's a somber one tonight.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about Ace Frehley. I think you guys got more stories than I would really. I mean, I love Ace Frehley, I love Kiss, and but I've never heard his solo stuff. I a couple songs here and there.
Really?
You did hear the 78 one at least,
yeah,
though, right?
No, of course. Yeah. That one I heard. I just didn't hear his other soul stuff after he left Kiss, or anything he's done ever since he's left Kiss. Really, besides the things that he did in Psycho Circus or whatever. So
I've got, I think, all the solo albums. What was the last one called? Anybody? What was
10,000 volts.
Yeah, I have that one. I don't think I've listened to yet. I've had it for months or for over a year, but I literally after the storm, stuff I hadn't listened to. It's piled up because I'm just dealing with stuff. Somebody reminded me it was a year ago, a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you guys remember, but I was out of power for like 10 days for a while there. Crazy. Anyway, yeah, I was sad. I mean, I think I took Ozzy's a little harder than Ace, but I'll be the first to admit I'm a huge Kiss fan, and kind of surprised me in the '90s when the grunge stuff was happening, and also Pantera. How many musicians, and you kind of knew it all the time, came out, and thankfully Ace knew this. They did this while he was alive. Influenced them to become guitar players. Mike McCready and from Pearl Jam, Kim Thao. I'm trying to name the ones that are not so obvious. Obviously Dimebag Darrell. I guess the list is endless, but he influenced a lot of excellent guitar players. I guess because Kiss were so huge, and he just looked so cool playing up there in those '70s shows. The Smoking Gibson, Les Paul, just a cool, Anyway, I was just really remembering that part of it.
He influenced this guitar player right here. Let me see if I can get him on here. Hold on a second here. I can't find the screen. How do you find the screen? Here it is. This guitar player right here. He influenced him. Who is this guy,
that-
Blue? Do you know who this guy
Who
is?
is that guy?
Legate?
Anybody recognize him? Stan, is that you?
No.
No, okay.
Not Stan. Is that Greg?
Oh, it's got to be Greg. No, he doesn't have a cigarette hanging from his mouth.
I didn't start smoking until 2 years later, actually. No, that's me at 17 years old. That's my senior year of high school. It was for the multicultural festival at Bryan High School in Long Island City. And it was a 2-act performance, and United States represented at the end. So we did Johnny Be Good. And after the guitar solo, we do a breakdown into No Woman, No Cry, because the Fugees at the time had a huge hit with that. So I go into my shredding guitar solo playing into a reggae beat. And, all of us basically dressed like a certain era. And I picked 70s glam rock, hard rock. And I actually have to credit my girlfriend at the time, Dr. Palika Verma now.
He's a doctor.
Of course, she's an Indian girl.
Dr. Love?
No comment. But she actually helped me design my makeup with the white face and the silver, inside the black lining. And she was like, "Do you want to wear lipstick?" I'm like, "Nah, this is enough." So I represented the United States 70s glam rock for the Multicultural Festival, and that was me. That shirt was actually given to me by my godfather as a gift. Purchased at a local music store called Yogi Lala, which doesn't sell t-shirts anymore. It's just jewelry. It's about 120 pounds less too back then.
You still have the shirt?
No, but I am rocking my Ace shirt today.
There you go. What about the guitar? Where'd that guitar end up?
Nah, that wasn't mine. That was my brother's. So
okay.
It's basically it's out of commission right now. So
shame.
Gotcha. So
it wasn't. That's not a Gibson, by the way. That was a Westbury.
Yeah, I thought it was Gibson because looking at it, I thought it was a Gibson.
Well, it sounded like one, but it was a damn fine guitar. So
well, Lou, since your picture was up, what's your Kiss story? How did you discover Kiss?
I just want to say hello to Catman because he was in here first as always. So he just says hello to everybody.
Catman, what up?
He grew up with Ace since '75, and he heard the 45 single in '75 with Gateway as the B-side. So my sister got me Alive in late '75, followed by the originals and 2 more in '76.
Wow.
Very cool.
Oh, nice. He had the Come On and Love Me with Getaway on the B-side single. That's a great one.
Yeah, that's really cool. I was really surprised that, like, by coincidence, I think it was the day before they announced, or was it the day of, the Dress to Kill box set? And
the day of. Yep.
Yeah, and I was really surprised because I never thought that I liked the album, but to me, of the first 3, that was my least favorite. I didn't like the production on it. Matter of fact, it took me a while to like it. Now I like it a lot. I like the song She. And I think my other problem was I heard Alive first because Dress to Kill was one of the latter ones I got, as I bought them. And I heard Alive first. And I think that's how I hear the songs in my head. So,
go ahead, Lou, before I cut you off.
Yeah. No, I was just going to ask Lou. So, Lou, how did you discover Kiss since you had the picture up, and what did Ace mean to you as a musician?
So my brother Mike, God rest his soul, he didn't have any of the classic 70s Kiss. The cassettes that he had were Animalize, Asylum, Crazy Nights, Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits, and Hot in the Shade. And I knew...
Sorry.
And I knew of the singles because we had U68 in our house, which if you grew up in the 80s in Queens and you didn't have cable, you had U68, which was a UHF channel that played music videos all day. So the videos that they showed were let me see if I can recall. Heaven's on Fire, Thrills in the Night, Tears Are Falling, and then they went out of commission. Oh, and they played Lick It Up too. So, those are the 4 videos that I knew of about Kiss. Then all of a sudden it's like, they're I saw photos of them from the 70s. I'm like, what the heck band is this? And my brothers would tell me that's Kiss. They used to wear makeup and stuff in the 70s. They had huge, huge shows. And I'm like, you mean like Iron Maiden huge? And I'm like, who do you think influenced them? I'm like, oh, okay. That's cool. 13 years old, and by then Revenge had come out, and I knew about God Gave Rock and Roll to You and Unholy, and I just wanna still wasn't convinced to buy their stuff. Then one day, October 93, around the time of my birthday, my brother Tony brings me to Nobody Beats the Wiz, and he's like, you got me into a lot of bands like Tool and who are some of the other bands that I got him into? Green Jello, I guess you could say, like bands like that, Curb Dog and things like that, and Stabbing Westward wasn't out yet. So let me get you into a band that I liked when I was your age. And all of a sudden we go to the K section and he pulls out Destroyer. And I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. First CD I ever bought with my own money. Detroit Rock City was on repeat on my Discman for like 3 weeks straight before I moved on to the rest of the album. I didn't really get to know Ace much about Ace's playing on Destroyer, but of the 4 iconic characters, his was the one that just spoke out to me. And I was like, I want to know more about this Ace Frehley guy. And then around that time was when he made the cover of Guitar World with Dimebag and Snake Sabo from Skid Row.
Yeah, they're wearing a makeup, right?
That's the one.
Yeah, I had that. I used to subscribe to Guitar World when I used to play. So
yeah,
anyway, go ahead.
So I was reading that, and I'm just like, wow, I had no idea how iconic this guy was. And apparently, I did remember seeing in a previous issue or 2 where readers of Guitar World voted for the 4 most important guitar players. And somehow it was voted Eddie Van Halen number 1, Jimi Hendrix number 2, Randy Rhoads number 3. Number 4 was Ace Frehley. I was like, who is this Ace guy? And then following year for my birthday, my brother gets me 2 Kiss bootleg VHS live concerts. Because if anybody remembers, and Greg, back me up on this, there was a period where Bill Aucoin sold off all the Kiss merchandise that he had. It ended up getting into the hands of like a convention, which Paul and Gene stormed and took everything back, but not before people basically made multiple copies of these concerts to sell on the black market.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened. And they were a staple at all the Kiss conventions up until, they stopped around 96 with the reunion and all that. And yes, Gene did storm it and took the original tapes and all that. That's actually one of those is where the Fool Winterland from 75 performance comes from on the Kissology DVD.
Yeah. So that wasn't one of the ones I got. What I got was Cobo Hall 1976.
I've got that. It's excellent. I still have that. Continue.
Which I was blown away by that. And I was like, now I get it. Now I get why people like Ace. And the other tape was Sydney 1980 Unmasked Tour with Eric Carr as his first tour as Kiss drummer.
Nice.
That concert, and I love Peter. I think Peter, to me, the drum fill that he did on 100,000 Years on Alive is one of the best ever recorded to tape. But there was just something about the energy that was emitting from Paul, Gene, Eric, and Ace on that Unmasked Sydney tour. And Ace had, at the time, a Les Paul. It was the black one with the white binding. Wasn't a sunburst. And I fell in love with that look. I was like, if I had a Les Paul, that's the way I'd want it to look. And the solo that he did on that one, in my opinion, blew what he did at Cobo Hall away. And then I just became infatuated. I was obsessed. I would literally sit with an acoustic guitar, tune it down a half step, and play along with every song on that 2-hour tape, driving my family fucking apeshit crazy. But I didn't care because I was like, you know what? It kept me off the streets. It kept me focused on school. And to me, it's like, that was like my high, was playing along with Ace and just like studying, his notes and trying to figure it out and pick it apart and just realizing, you know what? He wasn't Alan Holdsworth, but he didn't have to be, because there was a passion there. There was a fire there. And that's what made me fall in love with Ace, and during my formative years, I cannot deny he was a huge influence for me as a performer, probably more of a performer before a musician, but I'll never take away his skill set or talent as a musician, because, he wrote most of my favorite Kiss songs: Cold Gin, Parasite, Strange Ways. And the stuff that he did post Alive 2 with Kiss is criminally underrated. Hard Times, Save Your Love. Is That You is a perfect power pop song. Dark Light, I think, is one of the standout tracks on The Elder. I just think it's funny that he definitely gets credit as a showman, but he doesn't get enough credit as a songwriter. And I think that's a shame. And I was hoping it wouldn't have gotten to the point where we would respect and acknowledge his songwriting talents, posthumously, but unfortunately it's what's happening. But I will not forget the influence that he had on my life. And I feel like I'm better for having discovered Kiss with Ace Frehley.
Very cool. A lot of stuff going on in the chat here. Douglas Paxson, thanks for joining us. Met Ace in 92. Had him sign a Kiss bubblegum card. Awesome guy. Met Paul in 89. Kind of a jerk.
I can attest to that.
And he also saw Kiss 8 times. That's a lot of times.
Oh,
That is a lot of times. I didn't see him quite that many times. My friend Al, our friend Al, probably saw him about that many times.
still
What
not
about
as
you?
many times as I've seen Iron Maiden, which should surprise nobody.
Harry
I won't mention what artists I've seen the most today.
Manilow.
Alice
can't-
Cooper.
How'd you guess, Stan? How'd you guess?
Damn it,
Well,
Stan, you killed it for me.
So, Stan, what about you with Kiss, specifically the Ace Frehley era?
Okay, so honestly, I'm not much of a Kiss fan.
All right,
like
get the
mine.
fuck out of here. Goodbye.
Yeah, Canceled.
I like a few tunes. I like a few tunes, but I never really really explored it as much. So I don't really know much about Ace Frehley, really. Like, I'm just here for the education here.
He's
All
here
right.
for the free punch and pie.
All right, Greg, then that means you're up, man. What about you, Greg?
So Ace was huge to me. He wasn't my first because I got into AC/DC first, but easily my second guitar hero. And
As he swags from his Arnold Palmer.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, because my fucking mouth is dry, man. I can't be sitting here having the clicks, It's no good. But they turned the damn heater on in the building and it's still not. But anyway,
The clip.
dude, That is irrelevant.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit
So-
hot tonight.
Yeah.
So I knew, yeah,
We
too
knew that
hot
was-
in the hot tub. Will it make me wet?
We knew that was you put cold
Oh,
gin
you
in that
guys are
can.
supposed to scream, too hot in the hot tub. Will it make me sweat? At least Lou knows what I'm talking about.
God damn you,
Oh, no,
Greg.
that was pretty bad. Well, what about
That's James Brown's celebrity hot tub party.
I thought you were gonna do a Paul Stanley rap. And
Oh,
this
God,
came
no.
up
Close to
with-
sound just like one.
People,
Yeah.
Come on and love me.
no, dang it, people.
No, you gotta
Party
do that
people.
cringeworthy story he used to tell about this nurse.
Oh,
remember?
yeah.
Takes off
Oh,
one button, then another button,
Yeah.
then another button. She opens up my pants.
it pulls
I'm like-
out my love gun.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you sound like Antoine from Men on Film. Give me a fucking break.
Oh, isn't that what he sounds like anyway? Go ahead.
No, Ace always sounded like a cab driver, and that was one of my favorite things about him. I mean, they were like larger than life, especially with the way they were all done up. I mean, they were superheroes, especially when I really got heavily into them. You know, the reunion was going on and all that. And you had the one comic book in the 70s, but they actually did a full run of the toys with McFarlane and the comics and shit like that. So I had Dressed to Kill. I know somebody got me Destroyer because I really didn't care for the whole thing that much at the time, but Dressed to Kill and Alive. So it's pretty big about that. Oh, and then Creatures of the Night, which shocked me when I found out it wasn't him. But at
I
the
don't think I
same
knew that for
time,
years, dude.
I had a neighbor of mine that actually gave me a lot of the metal stuff I first had, and Frehley's Comet was part of it, including this Live Plus 4 video. First concert video I ever saw. I probably watched it every Friday night for like a year.
Hmm.
Because I mean, Ace, you know, he was larger than life, but he was always so humble. He was just this regular guy, man. It was relatable and it was cool, and he had a style that was definitely distinctly his own, but was not being a trained musician was easy for me to pick apart and play along to, whether it was right or wrong. At least it sounded good. Which, like he says, if he knew he was going to influence so many people, he'd have practiced more.
Oh, I love that quote by him.
So
That is a
I was
good
just
quote.
carrying the spirit on. But you know, he with the Comet, he stayed a great showman. You know, they weren't doing the full concerts and all that, but he still did the smoking guitar. You know, he was in Kiss for years, so they had good stage choreography and all that, and his banner and stuff like that was good too. And so I loved them two Comet albums, Trouble Walking and that live video, and that was really what made him my favorite, even more so than Kiss at the time, which I delved into deeper because I got Alive and I don't think I listened to it at first, actually, for like a couple weeks, because I more so knew them from the Unmasked era, and it was like, okay, I got Revenge, I like that, you know, this is cool, but yeah, I don't know. Kiss wasn't my favorite because that was what I was most familiar with, but throwing on Dressed to Kill and Alive, and well, I know he doesn't play on it, but they pictured him on it, and he was in the friggin' music video too for I Love It Loud. So at the time, what do you want from me? I was 10. I still thought it was him, but yeah.
Dude, I did too, Greg. I didn't know for years that it wasn't him. Then actually, it was. I don't even know it was that long because I remember when Lick It Up came out, there were stories that came out that Vinnie Vincent was on it, but I had no idea that the guy from Mr. is on
I
it.
don't.
You know.
I
No,
don't
Steve
think
Harris
they
is
can.
on the
Hmm?
title track for Creatures of the Night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think they actually confirmed that Ace was not on it until was it Kiss Exposed from '87? or that other biography video they did in '92. Either way, it's one of them where they first openly acknowledge that.
I remember that was the first
Oh,
Kiss
it
album.
was
I bought as a
exposed
kid.
from '87 because then they redid it with the non-makeup cover, which has Bruce Kulick on it for some friggin' reason, and
Yep.
their get up on that cover reminds me of the Griswolds showing off their stuff in Italy during European vacation. It's so ridiculous. I think Chevy Chase actually might have worn it better, Gene. But
Well,
you know,
yeah.
he brought just as much excitement to the Comet, and he was truly unique, and I just love that about him because you know, it was a style that was metallic, like Albert Collins, for example, my favorite blues player, but it also has this real laid back attitude to it. And I think that was what I loved about him most, especially once I started to see the live Kiss videos. The bootleg I first got was Tokyo '77, which is probably still my favorite live solo of his overall. Man, that's an awesome concert.
I
It
have
is.
I have tons of live videos on DVDs, excuse me, post shot DVDs. Apparently they filmed just about every show back then. And some of them I got on the official set. What the heck were they called? Ralph showed them the other day. I have all three of them.
Kissologies.
Yeah, and then I found the individual bonus disc, at the flea market one day, and I just bought them all. I don't know if I have them all, but the bonus disc that came inside of them, that was really cool. Now, before I start talking about Kiss, well, Greg, was there anything else before we move on to Mr. New?
And I was gonna say, along with that, and then just getting a hold of all these magazines and reading about them, and then interviews with them. He was just so cool. Like he went through all this crap, but he came back, and he's just a regular dude. And he was really cool. I only ever got to meet him once, unfortunately, and it was one of them signing things. So it was just a quick handshake and hey, how are you? But he was really cool about it. So
Was he punctual or late?
he was late. That was a little bit later on after he was out of Kiss again, where he was off the wagon again, and he was late, and he's already got a Bronx accent. Sorry, most people know it's true though. I'm not talking bad about Chase. I love you, but he was pretty drunk, and you couldn't really understand a lot of what he was talking about, but he was cool.
So he was drunker than he was on Tom Snyder.
No. I don't know if his blood alcohol content was higher or not, but he was definitely less functional.
I have a piece of pipe in the back that you could lay for me.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
That Tom Snyder interview is one of my favorite interviews of any rock band. Especially, you can see Gene and Paul, despite their makeup, just starting to see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Gene admitted on that video that he looks back, because I should have just gone with the spirit of it, but he admits he was pretty pissed at the time,
Not Paul. Paul's still fucking mad about it.
Dude, that was 40, almost 50 years ago. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, but
Paul's petty.
It hurt the business though, and that's like when you read his comments about it, he's like still seething about it. Like we had this persona, this image, and then they just wasn't playing along, and it wasn't funny, and they were trying to sabotage what they were doing. Like you can just hear how pissed he is as you're reading this.
Yeah, well,
all I know is that he destroyed Tom Snyder because Tom Snyder couldn't stop laughing with him, because he had that laugh that was great, that cackle,
I mean,
Oh,
Paul shouldn't have worried about Ace destroying Kiss, because I'm sorry, him and Gene deciding that they wanted to do Kiss Meets a Phantom of the Park is all. I think As
You
much
know-
as I love that film, a tad more damaging to the band's rep than what Ace did.
Certainly.
I don't
And
think
another thing about that
Scott
is,
Snyder hurt their rep at all. I think, you know. Anyway,
yeah,
Greg.
well, that's Paul's opinion, but you know, for as much shit as that high voice bastard likes to talk, none of okay. Peter Chris had a few that did moderately okay, but no one else was able to break off and have a viable solo career except for Ace.
Including Paul and Gene. Including Paul and Gene.
Yep.
Because Paul did that album to win, and that was a complete flop. And Gene Simmons' asshole album went nowhere either. So
yeah, they're fucking terrible, you know. But then again, Ace has more of the approach of getting with people as a band and jamming with them. But he wrote a lot of those songs, man. And you know, Breakout, which is takes the backing to Car Jam 81 and turned it into a new song. You know, you got Insane from Second Sighting, Juvenile Delinquent. There's so many great tracks on there that a lot of people, well, I think the late 80s stuff kind of gets buried underneath of Kiss, honestly. But point being, Ace was great all around. And, you know, he was the only one that was able to stand on his own.
yeah, and I think if he had I think if Frehley's Comet or Second Coming had been a better album, I don't know if he would have. He would have made it on a bigger level. It would have never been an Aerosmith level or even when Alice did it, but it would have been a.
But if he would have needed to quit the booze and the coke on the tour for Howarth.
But do you
the rest of
remember
that lineup to stay around though?
But do you remember Trouble Walking? He had a huge single, the cover of the ELO Do You?
Yeah. Do you?
And a matter of fact, I think that still gets airplay in certain markets. So
yeah, I still hear it occasionally. And on that album, he also does the definitive version of Hide Your Heart because the Kiss version sucks. Eat it, Paul.
I don't mind the Kiss version, but there's also a Bonnie Raitt version, a Molly Hatchet version.
No, not Bonnie Raitt, Bonnie Tyler. We discussed this.
Oh, you're right, Bonnie Tyler.
Manny, you would buy and say you like bootlegs of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young arguing backstage at Woodstock. So it doesn't surprise me.
I actually would enjoy that.
He probably has bootlegs of Orson Welles telling the producer, "How'd you like it if I put my nuts in your mouth?"
Hey, Orson Welles is a genius, but
hey, he voiced Unicron in Transformers, so I agree with you on that.
Well, he also they also parked a bag, they also parked a truck by his house and dumped a bunch of money on it, so he'd do that. Anyway, Greg, there was a bunch of people that did it, but I did like that album. All right, before I start telling my stories, what about you, Mr. Wayne?
I don't have any.
Well, how'd you get into Kiss and the early Kiss, the Ace Frehley era specifically?
I never got into Kiss. Beardy Beer Reviews says Ace was his first guitarist he ever heard.
Songs already.
I'm only kidding. Thanks to his uncle. And before Slash and Mick Mars, well, Eric Clapton was his first, to be honest, he says.
Well, that's not bad.
Jamie Oldacre from the Eric Clapton band was the drummer on Second Sighting.
Well, see,
and the tour for that album.
It all comes together. Look at that. Full circle there.
I guess Anton Fig didn't want to leave his gig with Letterman, right?
Well, so originally, first of all, clear something up for everybody. The band was always called Frehley's Comet. They didn't decide to change it after the first tour. Atlantic was nervous about if it would sell under just the name, so they demanded it be a solo album. And then with that said, Fig did not want to tour behind the album, but it was planned that he would come back to record in the studio, but then he got the Letterman gig and just wasn't interested anymore.
Fair enough.
All right. Yeah, I didn't get into Kiss until like Revenge era. Like what was it, like 91, 92-ish. And I've always heard Rock and Roll Night and a couple of the songs here and there, but never really anything like really got my attention until I heard Unholy. So that started my Kiss journey. And then my cousin gave me the double platinum album, and that that gives you all the really good stuff from the 70s. And I even posted about it on Facebook how I love all eras of Kiss, but the 70s era is the best Kiss era hands down, and a lot of it has to do with Ace Frehley because the songs that he written and just even the songs that he sang and everything like that, and his guitar solos, of course, that made Kiss, that made them sound the way they sounded. And I'm glad I got to see them live. I got to see them at Jones Beach. Unfortunately, his playing, which I heard that whole entire tour with that the farewell tour wasn't that good anyway, with a lot of his playing.
I didn't notice that. I was there the
No?
Friday night and
Oh.
I enjoyed the hell out of it. I was like,
I was my show was the first night. And it was
That's
even
what I'm
written up.
upset.
It was because I actually went the day after that. I saw a write up in one of the newspapers or whatever saying that he must have been drunk or something because he was like missed a lot of stuff, and the second night was better. So I don't know. I couldn't judge because I didn't see the second night. I only saw the first night. So
the
I
only
saw them twice on that tour, and he was excellent both times. So
the only mess up I
Something
saw on
for the
that show was Peter referring to Jones Beach as Long Beach. That's it. That's the only
I don't know.
mess up.
I heard it though. I remember it. I heard it because I was very disappointed. I was like, how can he forget his own songs? But even like when I talked about this last week on Ralph's show, he said that because he saw one or two of the shows or whatever, the farewells, and he said he didn't play that well either. So I don't know. Whatever. But
I thought he played good, although you could tell, and I'm happy he was cool enough to play it, but like you could tell he wasn't thrilled about doing shit like Heaven's on Fire.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He did not look as engaged during the 80s tracks as he did during what he was actually a part of.
Yeah, which is understandable.
Honestly, he didn't look engaged on that tour at all. The footage I've seen. I mean, there's a live concert in one of those. What are they? Kissology? I can't remember the name of those fucking things. But
Yeah,
anyway,
the Kissologies. Yeah, one of the farewell shows were on there.
yeah, and it's not that impressive as playing on it. And then you see a clip from just a year prior, whatever it was, and he's phenomenal. So
If you listen to the Vault live album from Japan in 2001, where Eric Singer takes over the drum throne,
excellent. I agree.
Ace's playing is like spot on.
Absolutely.
Now we're gonna blame Peter Criss.
No, we're not blaming anybody. Who knows? Who knows what was going on?
Yeah, we
the-
don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of backstage drama between the four original band members.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody? That's really all my Kiss Ace Frehley story, man. I don't have this huge Ace Frehley, obsession or whatever. I love him with Kiss, and that's about it. But did anybody hear about the story that they were working on doing something with Ace Frehley, especially because then they have this thing coming
Center.
up. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Kennedy
I
Center
know.
thing coming up, and they was going to do something special with Ace Frehley, but apparently, that's not going to happen now. But
I don't know if I believe any of that. Do I believe Ace Frehley would have sat in with him at the Las Vegas thing they're doing? Yes. Do I think that? Don't think they were going to do anything with him, special. No, I don't.
I believe there might have been something in the works that way, but to be honest, most of these articles I've seen and blurbs like that, it's all AI generated.
there's been a lot of AI stuff lately.
Yeah.
I noticed, yeah.
95% of it cannot be true.
Yeah, it's more noticeable now than it usually is. So,
Oh yeah, I mean they have Paul McCartney playing at a funeral that hasn't happened yet. It's all ridiculous. But
Hey
no, I'm
man,
serious.
James Cameron tried to warn us, and here we are.
But yeah, it's crazy. All right, Manny, go ahead. What's your Ace Frehley?
Well,
Kiss story?
I seem like I was always aware of Kiss. I'm the oldest one here, as you guys painfully.
why do you need to remind us of that every episode?
Couldn't tell.
Because
You're the biggest ageist of all of us. It's like you're
I am.
it's
I
like
know it's not like we're on your lawn, man. Settle
No,
down.
it's
Yeah.
because if you look behind me, the Grim Reaper keeps tapping on my shoulder.
Well, bring
So-
Herbert the
That was-
pervert over and you'll scare him away then. Jesus Christ.
But anyway, I was the kid, and I was aware of Kiss as personalities before I was aware of them as a musical entity. as a kid, I remember watching Kiss Meets the Phantom with my parents of all things because it came on. I didn't know who they were, and I remember really liking the movie because I was freaking 8. Um, but I still wasn't into music yet. I mean, I liked Elvis, and that probably was about it. And then around when I was 10 years old, they did this show called Kids Are People Too, which was kind of this
The debut
silly
of
ass.
Eric Carr.
Yes, right. And again, I didn't hear a note, nothing, nothing. Um, and my brother, who he liked rock music, but he wasn't like us, like, we're crazy enthusiasts. He had a few albums. No Kiss though. It was around when I was in middle school. That's when I discovered rock music, heavy metal, or whatever you want to call it. I was 12 years old, like Greg. It was AC/DC. That was my gateway band. And then it seemed like every week I was discovering someone new.
They
And
had
Kiss
music
was
back
one
then?
of those bands. Yeah, they did. It was
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was a Sinosaurus would come around and anyway,
Jesus Christ
with
and
a
his comets.
transistor radio.
Earl
We're gonna
Sinclair was
rock
his
around
next
the
door
temple
neighbor.
tonight.
Yeah. And then you would put the pterodactyl's beak and it would spin
Was Earl Sinclair your neighbor, and did he work for the We Say So Corporation?
No, he worked for Mr. Slate. Anyway,
I thought it was
Listen-
Sherman Helmsley.
That was Sherman Helmsley for the We
was
Say
it
So
really? Are
on the
you
show.
serious?
Yeah,
on
BP
the show-
Richfield.
Yes, on the show Dinosaurs, he was the owner of the We Say So Corporation.
Oh my God, I forgot about that show. That show's pretty disturbing now.
The way it ended, yeah.
Well, that was pretty hammered back then. Anyway, so but I discovered I went to the flea market and bought Destroyer and I loved it. I bought Rock and Roll Over and I love that. And I bought Alive and I love that. And I remember really thinking, man, this Ace guy is freaking cool. I thought Paul Stanley was a great front man. Gene Simmons was cool. But I thought Ace Frehley I thought he was the shit. I thought, because the thing about him was, if you look at his pictures, they were so cool. You can almost hear what he's playing in your head, if that makes sense. There weren't many musicians that were like that. I mean, Jimmy Page, you got the sense you'd see these still pictures of Jimmy Page and it looked cool. I'm not comparing the two; they're very different type of musicians. But Ace Frehley was cool. And then Creatures of the Night was the first album I bought as a new release. I had no idea that was an Ace Frehley, so I thought, my God, look how great he's playing now. He's playing modern, whatever the modern metal of that time was. But I love Kiss, and I became a huge, huge fan. I'm still a huge fan. I didn't become obsessed with them. But I remember right before Lick It Up, Creatures of the Night did not sell that well. And then when they took off their makeup, and I remember thinking, suddenly they were huge again. Greg, are you old enough to remember that? I don't know how much younger you are than me.
Well, I didn't watch it on TV, but yes, I did see it. No, they already had the makeup off by the time I really started paying.
Yeah, that was 83.
Yeah.
Yeah, 83. Yeah.
But
83.
I will say, as much as I do like Vinnie Vincent and his work on Lick It Up, and there are good songs on that, Creatures was definitely the better record. The whole MTV stunt with taking the makeup off sold that far more than the music did, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Because I remember being really excited they took off their makeup, and now I look back on it now, and what is that quote for Paul Stanley? We're selling a lot of sizzle and very little steak, because it was only 2 original members. What I remember,
None of them look fondly on the 80s.
I actually, because I grew up with it, but I actually like a lot of those albums. I think you think they all suck, but I actually like what good of them.
No, I like most of them, but I mean, you have shit like, well, Bruce.
The only one I don't like
Bruce
is Hot
definitely ended up fitting in, but I mean, Mark St. John, good player. Animalize really ain't a Kiss album. I mean, he just was not really compatible with them.
No, I think in retrospect, you're right. I think it's a good album. And it used to be one of my favorites, but what I what I really what I remember more about it is now looking back on Animalize, Asylum. As much as I like those albums are albums of that time period, sonically, musically,
Yep.
they're
Followers,
definitely.
not leaders.
Yeah, I mean, a matter of fact, I think their '80s stuff has aged a lot more than their stuff they did in the '70s. Even more aged than Unmasked. I know that's 1980 or Dynasty, because I still think those two albums sound great. Whereas even though I like Animalize, I don't think that sounds that great anymore. Even if I like the songs, I just don't think the production is really all that impressive.
No, it isn't. And I mean, to me personally, the biggest difference between Animalize and Asylum and Unmasked and Dynasty, as far as flirting with different styles go, they on Dynasty and Unmasked, they took power pop, disco elements, whatever you want to call it, and worked it into Kiss's music. Animalize and Asylum are full blown. Oh, check out these guys we influenced, like Dokken and Motley Crue. Let's be like them.
I agree with you.
Yeah. And
I should.
that's why I think ultimately they don't hold up as well as the other stuff.
I wasn't going to mention my hero tonight, but I'm going to do it anyway. Alice Cooper did the same thing with Trash, but the difference is Alice's personality still commemorates that album, despite he is following a pop hair metal trend, in my opinion. And I think that's why that album holds up a little bit more than a lot of that stuff from back then, the '80s.
Mhm.
Anyway, back to Kiss. I
Ace,
really,
specifically.
yeah, back to Ace, really. You're right. I really like, I have to agree with all of you or the ones who mentioned the songwriting. I think all of them don't get enough credit as songwriters, but Ace especially did not. His solo album, and we're not just saying that because he's gone, because we've done plenty of Kiss shows where we all said the Ace Frehley solo album from '78 was the best one of the bunch. And I think there's great songs on it. Matter of fact, Eddie Kramer, who I believe produced that, and correct me if I'm wrong, someone, but I believe that's who produced that.
He does.
As you guys know, Eddie Kramer started his career as being an engineer for Jimi Hendrix. He also engineered Led Zeppelin. He also worked with the Beatles. My point is that Eddie Kramer and Bob Ezrin, and Bob Ezrin did not suffer fools, even though he put Dick Wagner on a song for some reason. They both said, and they weren't putting down the other three guys, by the way, they both said that Ace Frehley was the most accomplished and best musician in that bunch. And that wasn't a backhanded compliment. These are men that work with master
The best of the
musicians.
best.
Yes. And the fact that if you can impress Eddie Kramer, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And with, I mean, Eddie Kramer worked with Jimi Hendrix, and Led Zeppelin with those Jimmy Page's, at the time, innovative production techniques, with the microphone placing, Ace really wasn't doing any of that. Ace is like two guys found together, and he, whoever the producer was, he let them, record them naturally. But he had a sound. And Greg, you mentioned Dynasty. You can still tell there's still an Ace Frehley sound on those albums, despite the power pop sound on them.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No,
But
honestly, Ace's sound is what makes those two albums still Kiss albums.
I
It's
never
fun.
thought about it till you said that, but you're absolutely 100% right, dude. I didn't think about it till you said that.
It's funny. The two Eddie Kramer albums that he produced for Kiss, studio albums, not counting the live albums. There were no ghost players on that. That was straight up Ace.
Because
And
Eddie Kramer won't do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what makes both, well, especially Rock and Roll Over. Because if you ask me, what are my three favorite albums from the original lineup, I would say Hotter Than Hell, Rock and Roll Over, and Dress to Kill. But Rock and Roll Over, it's just, to me, I just feel like that's the best that the band ever sounded on record. And if you take any song off of Ace's solo album, I'll take Fractured Mirror. Put it up against any Kiss. Sorry?
I was going to say Ozone.
No, I like Ozone too, but I mean, Fractured Mirror, an instrumental, very dynamic. That song alone, this is going to sound like sacrilege. I'll take listening to that on repeat over any Kiss album, because that's just how damn good Ace was. I mean, I'm listening to it more now after his loss, and just thinking, fuck, he was such a great musician. Like, I mean, for God's sakes, I feel like he said more with that instrumental than Gene ever did 6 years later with "I Want to Put My Log in Your Fireplace." It's like, come on,
Well, you know what? Ace never. Ace wasn't trying to be a poet, but at least he never wrote that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg, you brought up the solo album. So, what did you want to mention about those solo career? Not including the '78 album, but you mentioned.
Oh, I already pretty much said everything earlier. I love it. Great. Yeah.
I like them too. The only one I don't like is Second Coming, and I haven't listened to that for years. I haven't. I got to listen to it again. But I remember the complaint was that he didn't do all the vocals. It was it the Todd? What was the guy that you mentioned?
Todd
Howarth.
And I mean, he did co-lead vocals on the first one too. Quite honestly, one of his songs, "Something Moved," is one.
Moved, yeah, that's the one that came into my head when you said that. Yeah,
but him and John Regan both take a bigger part in Second Sighting. Ace, I think, only actually wrote 5 out of the 9 songs on it. I think the other 4 are all Todd and John. But with that said, some of it fits, some of it's good, but I think it's a little rushed. And I mean, they really pushed the MTV angle with it. Like you can see, God, what was the name of the ballad from it? The videos on.
Oh, It's Over Now.
It's Over Now. Yeah, it's I just don't think they had enough time to complete it. And I don't know.
For a power. Sorry, Greg.
Right.
I didn't realize I was interrupting. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say, I don't know. I feel like they didn't have enough time to finish it, or maybe because of Ace being sick and all that, it was just disjointed enough where they needed each other, and it didn't really come out 100%. Because even though a couple of them are good, and there's one on there I would consider a classic, the rating's kind of weak overall. I mean, Todd and John really stepped up and took care of it, but one, Kramer wasn't available to produce it. I forget who they used. I think that was the first thing against it. Ace halfway out of commission and not working with everybody one-on-one. I like that record a lot, but there's some real weak tunes on there.
I actually do like that song.
What were we going to say about the Power Ballad, Lou?
I actually love that song. I'm on friendly terms with Todd Howarth through Facebook, and we've actually talked guitar and whatever.
Oh, really?
And he's very gracious. He's very gracious to the fans. Like, he'll give you the time of day. Just an overall cool guy. He would do it. He would totally do it.
I'd love to talk to him. Actually, I like Todd a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not like trying to throw shade on that record, because I wish more people would listen to it, but I think the chaotic production just affected it a little bit.
Yeah, I will throw shade
at
that album, because I don't I don't care for that album at all. I've got to listen to it, but even the song "Insane," which is as catchy as an STD, is still not one of my favorite songs.
100% Ace Frehley classic. You are wrong, sir. And that nurse's tits in that video when I was 10 were amazing.
They're still
Can't deny
amazing,
that.
and I
Well-
still don't like that song. But anyway,
Well, the thing about but I love the song "It's Over Now." I think as a standalone pop song, it's perfect. I wish it had gotten the more airplay, but I actually think the Dark Horse track on that album, "The Acorn Is Spinning,"
is that the
that
instrumental?
was it was so off the wall, and I loved it. When Ace is left to just be Ace, it's perfect. You know.
Yeah,
Now-
I liked it better than Fractured 3 that's on Trouble Walking. Actually, the Acorn Is Spinning is a wild tune.
Yeah.
Well-
So I gotta ask this question to all you guys, whoever's read the book. Has anyone here read the book Kiss and Tell by Gordon G.G. Gebert?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay. So apparently he was friends with Ace, and they were supposed to do like a business venture sometime in the early to mid 90s, and it tanked, and supposedly, Gordon was screwed out of a lot of money from Ace, so he released a tell-all book, which apparently gets Gordon all around the Kiss conventions.
Yeah, it does.
I read the book, and I gotta admit, I was disturbed by some of the things that were in it. It made, if it was anyone else, I wouldn't like, I would stop supporting them. But, I'm reading it. It made me not want to like him, but I was just like, but it's Ace. And like, I feel like such an enabler saying that, but I can't help it.
I think the book is a bitter guy who lost a lot of money. I don't know the details of the business deal, and personally, I don't give a shit. But I think it's a bitter guy who lost a lot of money, because when you invest money, because that's the world I'm in, I don't talk about my job, you're risking. And if you go in on a risk with somebody and you lose money, you can't blame the other person. You decided to go with business with them. So it's your own fault if it failed, unless they took the money and took it into a pyramid scheme. Anyway, my point is, I would take that book with a grain of salt. Yeah, I read some of the crap that I'm not going to bring up on here about.
Yeah, I'm not going to bring anything disparaging against him here because we're trying to honor him. But but Manny, you're right. I mean, if you go into business with someone and you don't have a contingency plan in effect, and if you get fucked over, that's on you.
Trust me,
You're right.
I've made bad decisions with my money, and I wouldn't. If we all went into business and I made a bad decision with my share and you guys made it big, I wouldn't write a tell-all book on those bastard and servant angel, So that's just kind of silly, But what's his claim to fame?
Sue us. Go ahead. We got nothing.
Well, you go to business with me, you'll have one. You'll even have less. But anyway, but I just as a bitter guy. Well, before I go,
I'll have a lot of chicks though.
Who, that guy?
No. I said if you were in charge, we'll have a lot of chicks.
Well, I keep those to myself. You guys would have to,
Screw you.
And then wait, our wives will divorce us, and then we end up owing alimony. No, thank you.
They don't have to know.
Yeah, they don't have to know. Haven't you learned anything from Kiss, Lou? Anyway,
Right.
No, I'm learning more from The Sopranos. Anyways, go
I
ahead.
just want to shout out Metal Ben. He came in the chat here. He says Space Invaders is a great album. It's definitely better than Sonic Boom and Monster.
Ooh, that might be right. I hadn't thought about it because I never
agree with that.
I never compare the solo career to main Kiss stuff. But what I remember the most about the first album before I go, Frehley's Comet. I mean, the one says Ace Frehley's Comet. I remember waiting for that to come out because he had signed and they kept talking about it. There was no internet back then. So every magazine would hype him up. But matter of fact, I think Ralph showed the ad, or maybe it was Tony Dio, where the first time I saw Ace without makeup was an ad for his guitar that was a strange looking guitar. I don't know
Oh,
if
the
you guys
Washburn, yeah, with the
Yeah,
lightning
Yeah, the
bolt
ones
on
that
it.
don't have the headstock area.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's I think
that was on the Into the Night video.
Yep.
well,
And
I
Todd
remember
plays one in this live video too.
well, I remember that was the first time I saw him without makeup. And I remember Hit Prater supposedly would do these interviews. It turned out they weren't interviews. They would just send questions over and somebody would answer them, where they wouldn't really talk to him. But and I waited for months, and I remember I went to the store and bought it first day of release because it was such a huge Kiss Ace Frehley fan. And I really liked it. I even liked Into the Night, which I found out recently. The reason he covered a Russ Ballard song is because he had a hit
New York
with the
Groove.
Russ Ballard. Yeah. And I guess that was I don't think it was Eddie Kramer. He would never suggest a cover. I think it was Eddie Trunk who
Atlantic.
suggested a cover. Or was it Atlantic?
Yeah, Atlantic
Yeah.
and Eddie Trunk had something to do with it. I don't remember what. But,
Well,
Yeah,
Eddie
well,
Trunk
he-
got him signed to Megaforce, and I think he brokered the deal for Atlantic to distribute it.
yes.
Yeah, I think that's it.
And the Ballard cover, much like them making it an Ace Frehley album instead of Frehley's Comet, is because they were very nervous. It had been a long time since Ace was in the spotlight.
Well, I love that song Into the Night. I think Ace Frehley did an excellent job, man. Actually, I became a Russ Ballard fan because I would notice it with his songs that turn up on with Rainbow, Ace Frehley. I can't remember who else, but a lot of people covered.
Those are the only two I can recall. I mean, Since You Be Gone and I Surrender.
Yeah,
Because
but-
Rainbow covered it. Because Rainbow covered it first, Praying Mantis never got around to doing it because they're like, well, they already did. But it's funny because Gene Simmons actually said something in defense of Ace. He called Megaforce up and said, "You screwed up. You should have released Rock Soldiers as the first single."
Mm-hmm.
And it's possible that if they had done that, Frehley's Comet would have gone platinum.
Do you guys
'Cause-
agree with them?
Yeah,
I think so.
Into the Night is a good song, but that's more accessible for like pop rock radio. But Ace
But it's got that cool guitar
was the
part
original.
at the beginning, I love that little guitar part in the beginning.
No, it's really cool, and I mean, it still makes a good single. But they should have did Rock Soldiers first, and then they should have taken a chance and at least done a third one as a promo single, because Breakout could have still been on the radio, and that was probably the most popular song from that album that they did in concert during those tours.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's still one
It
track
made
he
me
was
stay
doing
with
late into his career.
Oh, they were doing
but,
that track Breakout. They were that was in the set, guys. Like
Well,
recently.
yeah, because at one point Richie Scarlett came back into the band in like the last 10 years, so he brought it back into the set list.
Oh, that's really cool. I did not know that.
Yeah. But I say Rock Soldier should have been the first single because it was Ace's comeback album.
Yep.
He should have had a comeback single. That
Yeah.
would have been a comeback single for him.
Definitely. I really think they should have done that in Breakout. Nothing against Into the Night, but.
Well, I just wondered if you guys thought he was right. I never thought about it because I thought I really liked Into the Night, and I remember. Keep in mind, music is listened to differently. Now you go to a heavy metal hard rock show, there's just as many women as men, not back then. In 1987, which, it sounds like a ridiculous now looking back on it, but I remember a lot of teenage girls really liked Into the Night because it fit into that, radio type song, you got, yeah, almost poppy. You're right, Greg, because it's got that, But man, what a great vocal on there he does too. That's another thing before I go. I think he was a cool vocalist. I like the way he sang. I like this laid back approach. I think he's a better. I mean, I liked it because his voice had a lot of personality, and that sometimes is way better than being a technical singer.
I agree. And as much as I love Kiss Alive, my favorite version of Cold Gin is Ace singing it and playing it with the Comet.
Dude, that
Because
is
he just adds something extra with his vocals to it since it's his song.
and that's another thing. You guys both mentioned his songwriting, Cold Gin. Freaking killer too. What's the best song? Shock Me. Killer. Even that silly ass Torpedo Girl is way better than She's So European, which was a single.
I don't know about that one.
Dude, it's a silly ass song, but Torpedo Girl, She's
Well,
So European. That's crap.
One
Torpedo Girl's not much
all
better.
of the time. Love that song.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I just remember good memories of Torpedo Girl because there used to be a cafe around the block from where I lived, and there was this gorgeous waitress there who I was listening to Torpedo Girl the first time ever, and like I saw her and I'm just like, oh, I wonder if that's the kind of girl that Ace wrote that song about.
I'm just glad you did not try that, use that line on that girl, whatever that stupid lyrics are. But anyway,
Oh no, I couldn't talk to girls at 13, 14. It was not no.
dude, I was never
I mean,
shy about that because what's the worst thing they're going to do? They're going to shoot me down? Well, they don't know me anyway. What do I care? So that's where I felt back then. Actually, I still do.
Well, good for you having more swagger than me. I mean,
I don't know if I have swagger. I'm just not that shy. No. But I should be.
it's all right.
But I
Edward
should
Wright.
pretend to be shy. That way, they're going to think I'm a sweet guy. So you're brilliant, Lou. That's why I like.
I do nothing.
I don't know.
Wait and take your show back.
Edward Wright says, "Hey guys, Ace is a legend, so crucial to their sound. One of my favorite solos from him was from the song Dark Light. Favorite Ace written song was Hard Times."
Good ones.
Wow, I do like that too. Now would it never occurred to me to pick that. That's cool.
Actually, another one of my favorite performances from him. Speaking of the Elder, he didn't write it, but he's awesome on I.
Oh, that's a great tune. That is a great tune. Actually, I like that damn album. Anyway, go ahead.
I love the Elder too, but I still say that his best solo and probably my favorite Ace song, Strange Ways.
Yeah.
And I thought Peter's voice on that just elevated it.
Definitely. Yeah.
That's the unique thing about the original lineup of Kiss too. They all could sing. There weren't many bands that could do that. I mean, the Beatles. Before we get hate mail, I'm not comparing the Beatles to Kiss. I love them both. Who else?
Well, first of all,
They were a
Kiss are
huge
basically
influence.
heavy Beatles.
Yeah.
Secondly, we all know Blue Oyster Cult perfected the vocal thing with its band members.
How many guys sang in Blue Oyster Cult, Greg? All of them? There was
All
most.
five of them did. Well,
Yeah,
technically,
I don't think Alan did.
Alan Lanier sung one song. It's True Confessions on Agents of Fortune, but he did.
I love that guy song, Greg. That's a great song.
True. Yeah, I'm just saying that's the only one he actually took the lead vocals on.
Because Queen, there was three guys that could sing. John Deacon never sang. I don't even think he sang backup vocals, but yeah.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah. Anyway, great artist, great guitar player, very influential. He's never going to be forgotten. While we're going to miss him, the music's forever. So thank you, Ace. It's mine.
Stan, what have you learned?
That I should check out more of the Kiss stuff.
The 70s Kiss stuff.
And the Ace stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and it'll get you laid, Stan. So
That's always good.
Yeah, you tell a girl you're a Kiss fan, they'll drop trout. I'm lying, by the way. But anyway.
One thing we failed to mention about Ace If any of you have ever gone to Madison Square Garden, as you're walking into the arena, as soon as you get off the train, and you're walking in, the first picture that you saw hanging as you're walking in was Ace Frehley, not Gene,
Oh,
not Paul, Ace. For the
no,
longest time, his image was on the entrance of MSG. So
that is cool.
that just goes to show you how awesome he was.
Well,
Oh yeah,
any
well,
last,
for all that larger than life whatnot with the characters, I mean, Ace's legacy is even bigger because he was the one I feel cared about the fans more. Definitely got involved with them more.
I he definitely did. Any last thoughts before we
One
wrap
last thing
it?
I did forget about was the MTV Unplugged show. I mean, we talked about it 100 times here, but
Yes.
that was like one of the first things that really showed me who Ace Frehley and Peter Criss were. And then seeing Ace Frehley singing 2000 Man, I became a huge fan of that song. It was like one of my favorite songs after I heard that. And listening to that MTV Unplugged thing all the time, it just it's a great album. And then just seeing it was good at the beginning, but when both of those guys came in and Ace Frehley came in there and they're both playing their old songs again, it just everybody just loved that even more, and it made that show even better. So
Well,
The
that's
four of
another.
them just
they had
have
something. They just
something
had that.
so special.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't recreate that. I like all areas of Kiss, but there was a certain magic with the original lineup. Um, the other lineups are great too, but not. There was something special about the original lineup, and you're right. Yeah, you can't. Whatever chemistry those guys had, you
Yeah.
you can't duplicate that.
Never
There
will
are a
You,
lot
be
of
you,
again.
bands
you
like
could
that.
you could say that about the classic lineup of any band, Black Sabbath, the Beatles,
The
hell, I mean, you could even
Doors,
say that about the Doors. You could say that about the Lights Out era of UFO, where
absolutely.
that was the lineup that had its biggest success.
Yeah,
Um, you know, and I have nothing but respect for all members of Kiss, past and present, even Vinnie Vincent to an extent. Unfortunately,
Hey,
I have to admit
yeah.
he's
still love
self-destructive,
his
Greg.
playing. Yeah, I still love his
He's
playing, even though he's a
I
white
I
guy.
love his playing. I don't have to work with him, so I'm okay with that.
which
So,
is why I let the stuff in that
yeah.
Kiss and Tell book go, because I'm like, well, he never did it to me, so what do I care? But you know,
Well, he still owes me money, but I can let it go, I guess.
We had
but I mean,
was the Ralph show. We had a guest, and one of them, he was a small kid. He bought the box set from Vinnie Vincent. He never got it, and he still
Yeah, none of us
and he
did.
and he goes stealing from a little kid. I never thought about it because he must have been like 12 years old, if not younger. You know. How's he not feeling his
I'm surprised
shame?
he never got sued.
Kiss fans are
I'm really
sometimes too
surprised
rich.
Vinny never got sued.
No, he probably
I
got
don't
sued.
know if he had, when he bailed on that, I don't know if he had the money to sue anybody right around then. He lost his suits against Kiss. Enigma was coming for his ass. I don't know if
Yeah.
he could hire another lawyer of his own,
What's
or if there was any money to even be had by filing that suit.
plus, those pantsuits cost a lot of money, so he probably didn't have enough money to, make those box sets.
Oh, come on. His wife at the time was the same size. They clearly thought that out. They probably shared the wardrobe.
Oh, you like them thick, eh?
Part of the marriage contract. You can't get any weight, baby. All
That's
right, dude.
funny. He liked them thick, and they're the ones that married the thought. I digress. Anyways, continue.
Anyway, this was a lot of fun. Stan, you're very silent, so I hope you took notes.
He's got homework to do.
Yeah, you got homework. Uh, you didn't even ask any questions during Jimi Hendrix. You asked a bunch of questions tonight. You're just silent.
You know what? I do have a question actually. How come each member of Kiss did their own solo album, even though they're still, together?
So
because
I
that's
will
an
let
interesting
Greg,
story.
And everybody answer at once.
I will let Greg take this one. Go ahead.
No, Lou can take it.
Lou, take it.
So after they made Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, which was their made for TV movie, was at the end of the Alive 2 tour where they had their greatest success. Peter and Ace were burnt out from the business aspect of Kiss, and they said that they wanted out. Paul and Gene said, no, don't go. If you want to do solo albums, go ahead. We'll all do solo albums and we'll release them on the same day. Do what you want to do, but just stay in Kiss. So that was the reason why it was done. It was to appease Peter and Ace so they could get out their creativity. However, what Paul and Gene didn't expect would happen, Ace's solo album is considered the best one, with Peter's coming at a close second.
Because
And
that's
Ace
the kind of sugar Papa likes.
That's right. And Ace outsold all of theirs. So
Interesting. Okay.
it proved to him that he could be a solo artist, which he did. And
Yeah, that
of all
motivated
the
him to leave. To leave, right?
You know, and there's another interesting thing that Lou forgot. Eddie Kramer only worked with Ace only agreed to work with Ace Frehley solo album. I can't remember which of the other two. Peter didn't ask him. I don't know if it was Gene or Paul that asked him to produce it. He goes, no, I'm doing the Ace album, which is pretty interesting.
Well, I think it was Paul and Gene because Peter wanted to work with Vinny Poncia, who ended up producing Dynasty.
It wasn't Peter Chris, that I know. I don't know which, but I knew one of the two wanted to work with Eddie Kramer, and Eddie Kramer already committed to.
And then Poncia burns Peter's ass by suggesting he be replaced.
Yeah, I know. Irony. But I think Paul's was produced by Sean Delaney, who at the time it wasn't known, but he was Bill Alcoin's boyfriend.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that till right now.
Very, very few people knew that. Yeah.
Well, I literally didn't know that till right this minute, guys.
Wow.
Yeah. If you read their autobiographies, you'll read some interesting stories in there.
I've read Paul's Gene's. I've got Aces and Peters, but I haven't read them yet. They're in that big stack of books I have to read.
Yeah, Peter holds nothing back. Ace is just like, I was having a good time.
Yeah. Aces is fun. Peters is a little bitter.
Yeah, I've read
a little.
You know, Joey Kramer of Aerosmith, he wrote a book, and I read it. Actually, it's on my shelf over there. What a fucking whiner! All right, that's my. That was it.
4-word review. Okay, I'll accept
that. That was it. That's the review. What a fucking one. Stan, you write a book about Severed Angel. Don't whine. Don't.
Oh, here's another one. Here's another one though. Like, so Ace leaves the band. What's his face? Vinnie Vincent shows up, and they create a whole new character for him.
Yeah.
Like, how come they didn't do that for Tommy Thayer and like
Greg, you take this one
because you know the classic.
Because the classic look. I mean, the original 4 members is what's putting asses in seats selling tickets.
That's iconic.
They had learned that by that point in time. I mean, when Vinnie Vincent and Eric happened, it was still about continuing on the mystique of Kiss, but acknowledging the new members. But them buying the Spaceman and Catman makeup designs from Peter and Ace was totally business because they knew it would sell more tickets.
Yeah, for $850,000 each.
Vinny didn't have that makeup on very long either.
No, but I also think that
Vinny had it for the full year.
But like they didn't have it in the albums or anything because he wasn't, in the pictures on Creatures. So nobody knew what he looked like unless you went to the shows and saw him.
Right, and at that point,
Well,
Kisses.
the Japanese version of Lick It Up, because of how popular they were there, that actually has a insert cover that has them all in makeup, but that is the only original album that they actually released with Vinny in makeup, except for in Brazil, which was actually, I believe, where they did the best on the Creatures of the Night tour when they did the inaugural
300,000 people at the stadium. Yeah.
300,000 people. Creatures of the Night got re-released in Brazil with Vincent on the cover, which actually it's just
actually
his
more
makeup
on
design
this.
airbrushed
Yeah.
over top of Ace's face.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
if you
funny.
know what Ace's face looks like, you can tell it's a different makeup design airbrushed over Ace's face.
Yeah,
No,
the funny thing is though that Vinny never signed a contract with Kiss. He kept avoiding it. So, you know,
Yes,
he was
because he wanted to be a full partner in the band like Peter and Ace had been, and it
wasn't gonna
happening.
happen.
Yeah.
you know what? I don't blame Gene and Paul. I would fuck that. You know.
But that's also why he only gets writing royalties, because he never signed a contract to become an employee of the band.
Oh,
You know,
does he still collect the writing royalties? I didn't even know he was still collecting.
I
Yeah,
thought he
that's
probably
all.
lost it. He lost them, Greg. Didn't he lose them because he tried to sue these guys? I mean, I don't know. So
Well, he tried to sue them for all different kinds of crazy reasons, including unpaid royalties, but I believe he still owns some kind of publishing on it, or has
Well,
got some of it back.
yeah, but the songwriting association handles the distribution of royalties, not the Kiss organization. You know, so
Well, no,
Oh.
I mean they publish it, but you know, again, if you own the publishing company, um, you know, you're entitled to 20% of the songwriter's royalties.
yeah, whatever you
When you
wrote.
and when you're sitting in a shithole house in Tennessee, living off of your wife's paycheck and a dog kennel, with all of these outstanding lawsuits against you and nothing else going on, you're going to try to make money any way you can, except playing the guitar, apparently, which was his talent, because he's a nut job.
So how
Yeah.
much do you guys think like Kiss lost creatively, you know, after Ace left?
Oh God, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
but you know what? Ace was already pulling back by the time he left. He was not very happy with the musical direction of Dynasty. I guess he didn't mind Dynasty, but Unmasked.
Unmasked and the Elder is where he
And the Elder,
really
yeah.
have an issue.
Yeah. And
The-
he totally checked out during their making of Creatures of the Night. He just, you know, he didn't show up or anything like that. So,
Oh, he checked out during the Elder. He never went to the actual sessions except for with Ezrin and Carr. Pretty much all of his guitar parts were mailed.
Yeah.
which is unusual back then, by the way. No, but yeah, it's, I think they lost a lot. I don't think he was appreciated as a songwriter by the two main guys, Gene and Paul. And I also don't think he was appreciated as a songwriter by the general public, because I think most of the singles, you know, whether it's right or wrong, whoever sings a song, people assume that's a songwriter, whether that's true or not. A majority of the singles are sung by Paul, so you know. So for the general public, Ace was the kooky, cool guitarist who kicked ass, but he wasn't thought of as a songwriter. You know, not like Jimmy Page was, or Jimi Hendrix, or Edward Van Halen, or you know, Leslie West, Robin Trout. We could go on and on. I think
Yeah.
his influence is bigger than some of those guys, in my opinion, just because he was in Kiss, but he never got the credit as a songwriter. And again, like I said, the general public thinks, well, he's singing it. If they even think about it, he must be the songwriter. You know, that's not always the case, but we know that because we're music nerds. So.
Plus, I think the biggest mistake that Kiss made with Unmasked and Music from the Elder was that they didn't focus on the American market. They only did one concert in the States during that period, and that was at the Palladium in New York City. Other than that, the States were ignored until 82, 83, when they were playing to half-packed arenas. Well, one
If they
show,
were lucky.
yeah, if they were lucky, one show they played in front of like maybe 1,000 people at an arena. Paul said in his book, it was so sad. Usually he flicks his picks into the audience. The pick landed over the audience's head into the back. So
that is true. And right before they started the show, well, they started and then restarted because the house lights came up and they came out and they were like, what the hell? So they stopped it, had everyone move down to the front rows as close as they could, and then restarted.
That's sad. But I will say this, Creatures of the Night is actually my favorite Kiss album, Stan.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say after Creatures, the quantity was more than the quality.
Yeah, that's kind of, yeah. I agree. I hate agreeing because I do like those albums, but
I do too, but you gotta admit, Crazy Nights has some stinkers on that. And I
it
love
does.
that album, but you know.
See, that's right. When I do this show, I mean, Greg was joking, but he's not joking. I do like a lot of stuff that you guys load, which I'm okay with. I like, I have no problem with that. But when I'm on the show, I sometimes have to put my critic's hat on, meaning I have to be a little more critical than I usually would be, about an album, even someone I love like Kiss. So. But it's funny because we think about that. So their height, 74 to what, 79, 80 was the height of their fame. That's only like a 4 or 5 year period. It's amazing how fast, it
Oh yeah.
popularity can go. They weren't the only one in that position. Aerosmith were suffering. I think they were playing a little bigger places than Kiss, but not by much. Ted Nugent.
I do not agree with that at all. I think
Rock in a Hard Place actually sold pretty well. It went gold.
Yeah, all right, maybe. Well, you never. I thought you were talking late 70s, not early 80s.
Well, no, it's late 70s. They're in the same boat that Kiss was. Ted Nugent's popularity was going down, which is hard to believe, but he was a stadium act at the time. Alice Cooper's albums weren't selling as well. He was still playing big places, but album sales were starting to dwindle for him too. So there was a lot of these guys going through the same, thing from that era. So it's kind of interesting.
Cool.
Any other questions, Stan?
So the whole like spaceman character was that like truly like an extension of who he was?
He came up with the character on his own.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
By the way, he designed Paul's star over the eye.
He designed
okay.
the Kiss logo too, I believe.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he designed the Kiss logo.
Oh, so
Even
he's
though I heard Paul Stanley take credit for it, I believe. But
Really? Every
I don't
time
know.
I see Paul talk about it, he actually does give credit to Ace.
Well, I don't know. That's what I've heard, but the internet bullshit. Who knows? But I heard it was Ace.
He seems to get a little pissy because it was originally his idea, and then he's like, "Oh, Ace was at the lightning bolts," but whatever.
Oh,
Well,
one more thing I
understand
wanted to
this.
mention. So all my guitars have lightning bolt straps.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely Ace's influence. But the funny thing, he designed them, and Gene said, patent that design. And he said, nah, I'm good. If he had done that, Ace would have never had to have worried about money ever again. But it just goes to show you. Sorry.
No, you're right. But Ace should have never had to worry about money, considering how big Kiss were. But I get it. Bad investment.
Well, he still got it. I mean, he actually had a pretty decent severance thing, and the way the contract was written up, he got paid up through Animalize
He
a
did.
quarter of all the band's profits, and that is also why, yes, Eddie Trunk helped a lot. However, one of the terms of that contract and him getting that severance and that 0.25% of the profits through 84 was after that ended, he could not release an album until 3 years later. So the Comet album would have not happened before 87 regardless.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's it.
I don't see him breaking that contract. I mean, that would just be stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the original Alice Cooper band, they had a similar. It wasn't quite as long as that, but they were paid. Not, I don't remember what. Who knows the agreement? But the four other guys are paid some sort of money when Alice went solo.
They got something for Welcome My Nightmare and Goes to Hell. And then that ended, and then that was when they did the $1 Billion Babies album themselves in 77. But
yeah, I knew there was some sort of agreement because they did walk away. It's kind of weird, but those men walked away as friends. So, all right.
Yeah. It must be weird for somebody else to just like put on that spaceman makeup and outfit.
Didn't
And
seem
you're
like
be-
it because he wore it long enough.
You're like cosplaying as Ace, and it just seems a little. I just don't understand why they just couldn't come up with new characters. It's still Kiss at the end of the day. You know what
yeah,
I
but
mean?
that's probably why they got Tommy Thayer. He was in Black and Blue. He had already been pretending they were good for years, so it wasn't much to take someone's makeup design and pretend.
On that note, I'm out.
Later.
Bye.
Later, Manny.
All right.
Fucking square jaw. That pisses me off so much. It's Ace statement. It shouldn't look like that.
What thumbnail are you talking about, Lou?
Oh, you know what? Because I'm looking at the YouTube Rat's Eye Review page right now.
Yeah.
And the shot of me in the Ace makeup is what's showing in the
that's
thumbnail.
That's funny.
By the way, a shout out to my friend Palika Verma, Dr. Palika Verma. Namaste. Love you. Hope you and your family are well.
Yeah. From the Dungeon TV keeps writing things and then retracting them. I saw it and then I went to read it and it's gone.
Is that Ian Wadley? No.
No. I don't know. All right, good show. Had fun.
Yeah.
Sorry I didn't talk too much, but I'd rather hear you guys talk because you guys have more insight. From the
Want to go
Dungeon
listen to
TV,
some Kiss?
Eddie Trunk said he got screwed out of 2 points from Johnny Z from Ace first album.
Yeah.
If Eddie Trunk wasn't bitching about something, it wouldn't be a day that ends in Y.
Very true. And
It
next week,
is-
Good form.
Eddie Trunk will be on the show next week, so we'll talk to him about it.
Hey, that's okay. I don't mind telling him. Sometimes he comes up with some good stuff. He did do things to help people, but he's got to be one of the most ungrateful, whiniest people I've ever seen. It's never about, oh, this happened and it was cool and here's the history. It's, oh, this happened and this was cool
I was
and
there.
here's the history, but this is how I was wronged in this situation and how it led to me being wronged over. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude.
It always struck me as like, this like big mark. You know what I mean? Like it just here's my buddy. Here's this guy's my friend. He always like makes things about himself somehow.
Yeah, that's exactly what he does in every interview. It's so
Yeah, notice I said the words I'm friendly on Facebook with Todd Howard. Never said I was friends with Todd Howard. I never met the man in person. I just speak his praises because he's always been nice to me. Leave it at that.
I did meet John Regan once actually and talked to him for
Rest
a while.
in peace to him too.
I have, yeah. What I know I had him and Ace sign the same album. I think it's the Live Plus One EP, but I would have to go look. But
Yeah.
there was a really cool guy, real personable, that talked for a while and was.
Yeah, John Todd and Rob Afuso with somebody else. I forget who it was, but they actually released an album together under the name 4 by Fate. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty good. Yeah.
And they actually there was one show, I think it was at a Kiss convention or something. And it was a Return of the Comet, and Richie and Ace joined them on stage for a couple of tracks, which was unfortunately not one of Ace's best nights. He kept having guitar problems, so he threw his guitar down and threw a bottle of water at the sound man.
Yeah, that
He went full Richie Blackmore on him.
it is fun to watch though.
Good,
But,
just to see the bottle go boink.
yeah, I mean, the other thing, yeah, sorry, being kind of low energy. I mean, I love Ace, and this one for me hurts more than Ozzy. I'm still sad.
I'm shocked. I don't know. The Ozzy one kind of surprised me more, but
You guys remember Life, Sex, and Death?
of course.
Yep.
I'm a tank. I'm a tank. I'm a tank.
Yeah,
I'm a
you
tank.
remind me of that singer, but
That that shit is in my head, man. It just won't leave.
that just came out of nowhere. Has nothing to do with this show.
I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not. I know it actually just like came into my head, and that's why I just decided to bring
Actually,
it up.
I have that sitting around here somewhere.
Don't bother looking for it.
No,
Yeah, please. No.
It's a good album. I have it's a good one.
If it was Tony Dio, he would have pulled that up in 5 seconds.
I know it's
You would have had it right next to him.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Goodbye.
like Tony. He's a good cat.
I don't like him.
Oh, you don't like anybody.
Nope. Next week will be next week is Halloween, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do a Halloween show next week.
Oh, it's Halloween.
Favorite top 10 Halloween songs. Until then, see you guys later.
Later.
Seriously?
No. I don't know. We'll think about it.
Rest in peace, Ace.
Yes, rest in peace, Ace Frehley. Goodbye, everybody.
Hack.
Yeah, hell, I even had a dog I named after him at one point.
You had a dog named Ace